Hey everybody, I am excited for this YouTube hop. It is an altered pumpkin YouTube hop organized by Shannon Helwig, one of my amazing, talented, beautiful friends. I am going to share some details before I get into my project. So the hop will run until November 1st, and then the winners for the prizes will be announced a few days later on social media like Facebook or Instagram, so be sure to keep an eye out. Also, the rules to have a chance to win one of the prizes is watch and like all of the videos. Also, of course, you need to leave a comment and make sure to leave what country you are in, because some of the sponsors are not going to be able to ship to another country. And also be sure to subscribe to everybody's channel. The full list of everybody involved in the hop will be down below. Also, all of the sponsors will be listed down below. Everything that you need will be listed down below. And if you cannot tell already, I am super sick by my nasally voice. My nasally, it's just, I can't even think right now, and I am going to try my best to do this voiceover. Abby was sick for a whole week. She was out of school all week, and I thought I got off scotch-free, and no, it didn't happen. So now I have it, and I am trying my best to fulfill all of my commitments. And yeah, so I inserted at the beginning of the video a little video of my project because it is a little hard to capture all of the details and stuff in a photo. I was just having the hardest time trying to take photos of my project. So I hope that gives you a little better look at my project. So I did two pumpkins. My first one I ended up trashing. It didn't turn out how I wanted it to, and I tried to fix it and it just didn't turn out. So I had to go get another pumpkin, and in the bin at Walmart, there was actually antlers in the same bin. So I got this crazy idea to add antlers to my pumpkin, and this is how it's going to turn out. So I'm not going to talk through the whole video because it is quite long, because of course, a project like this has very many steps. I honestly can't even think right now, so hopefully I'm making sense, and if not, I do apologize. And I can't help that I'm sick, and I do want to apologize if this is going to be not a very informative video. I'm going to try my best, like I said. So first thing was to add a little bit of texture to the pumpkin and the antlers, and I'm using black sand texture paste from Finnabair, and of course all of the supplies will be listed down below, so be sure to check them out as well. And I will hopefully have a blog post so you guys can check that out as well, because there's lots of information regarding what products I used and all of the information on the hop as well. So if you want to go check out my website, you can do so as well. And I should have a coordinating post. All right, so next thing was to add some elements, and I absolutely love using the IOD molds or the Prima molds with paper clay. They just add so much, and you can reuse them over and over and over again. Definitely a great investment if you are on a budget, because you can find some, like if you absolutely love keyholes, you could see the one at the top there has a bunch of different keyholes that you can use, and instead of going out and buying metal pieces that you can only use once, you buy the mold, buy some clay, and you can make as many keyholes as you want, and continue to make the same, like your favorite ones. I like to have a lot of my favorite pieces on hand, so I will sit and just bust out a bunch of my favorite ones, and then I'll have them dried, and then I put them all in a bucket. but because this is a round shape, for this project, I wanted to actually have it mold around the pumpkin. So that's why I am adding it wet to the pumpkin, and then that way it dries in the shape of the pumpkin and it looks a little bit better and it just flows nicer onto the project. So I've been obsessed with wire lately, and of course, this pumpkin is no exception. It didn't escape from getting some wire. So I'm just adding it kind of around, and then I'll add that clay piece back to the pumpkin. And I actually use Fabri-Tac at first, and then it just wasn't sticking. So I ended up using E6000, which is probably the best idea for this type of project because I'm adding the clay to basically plastic. So I really want it to stick really well and last a long time. So E6000 is definitely the way to go for this type of project. So I had this idea of adding the locket, and then I was going to actually add a butterfly to the center of it on top of the locket and the gear, but it just was too much weight on the front of the pumpkin, and it would not stand up straight. I should have known. I didn't even realize that until after I had painted it and then started adding the antlers and stuff. So I ended up changing it in the end. But right now I am just adding gesso to the whole pumpkin, and this is heavy body gesso or heavy gesso. It gives really good coverage, and it's nice to use for projects like this because then you have a clean slate and you don't have to worry about your different mediums not sticking. I wasn't sure at this point what exactly I wanted to use. I went back and forth between sprays and acrylic paint, and then I even thought of maybe using some art alchemy wax and or rust paste. So I really didn't know what I was going to do at this point, but a good starting point is just adding gesso to the whole project. Then you could think of how you want it later, because when you have a bunch of different colors and different textures, like there was metal and clay and the wire and stuff, I couldn't get a clear picture of how I wanted it to be. So adding gesso to the whole project really gave me a clean slate to think of what I wanted it to look like. So after I add gesso to the whole pumpkin, I'm adding gesso to the antlers, and this was a little bit harder than I had anticipated. I wanted to keep some of that texture that is on the antlers, but the gesso kind of soaked in a little bit to the antlers, so I kept having to add more gesso and more gesso, which is fine. But I probably should have thought of something else to do with the antlers. All right, so now you're going to see that I changed it up a bit. So I add this clock face from Finnabair, it's a metal one, and then I add another clay piece on top, and then I'm going to add 31 to the center of that. It's almost like a flower piece from a mold from the beginning of the video. And these numbers are from Finnabair as well. And to be honest, I was so sick, I had to look up and make sure that I remembered when Halloween was for sure. I'm like, I know it's on the 31st, but for, when you think of something for so much, or like you think of a word and how to spell it a lot, then it just doesn't make sense anymore and you think that it's wrong. That's what I was dealing with the 31. I had to look it up. I felt ridiculous, but anyways, I am just adding more gesso to these metal pieces, and then I will get into adding gesso to the candlestick. I've had this for quite some time. I kind of pick these up now and then, just different things when I'm at the craft store, just to have on hand, just in case creativity sparks something. I wish I had a little bit bigger one to hold the pumpkin with the antlers a little bit better. And I did add the antlers to the pumpkin a little bit too early. I ended up having to take them out and add E6000 and hot glue to make sure that they stayed in the pumpkin really, really well in the end. But, you know, sometimes you have to learn as you create and do it better next time, I guess. All right, so after I add gesso to the candlestick, is that like a candlestick holder? Anyways, I cannot think right now. I am going to make some more clay pieces here, and these ones are kind of like borders or decorative strips. And I really like these to wrap around different elements when I am creating. And of course, you definitely have to do these or do this as you go. You can't obviously wrap a clay piece that's already hardened around a round piece. So I'm doing that now, and I add E6000 to that. And I'm just going to smush the back a little bit. I'm not too worried about how it is going to look in the back. All right, so I'm going to add another piece to the top of the candlestick. And this one is just a little bit thinner. I wanted to have a little bit of variation on the candlestick. So that's why I'm doing two different pieces. This one just has kind of like round, almost like beads on it. It's actually really cool. Just definitely just something extra. So I didn't know exactly where I wanted it at first, but then I thought I need something to be at the top of the candlestick where the pumpkin is going to sit, so right under the pumpkin. And I decided to add a decorative piece, clay piece, to the top of the pumpkin where the stem is, and that's what I'm doing here. That one was going to go in the front of the pumpkin at the beginning, but it was just a little bit too large, so I added it to the top. All right, so now I'm going to add some color, and I am using impasto paints at this point. I water it down, and I don't know how dark I want the pumpkin, so I'm starting out light at first. And this color is Dusty Rose, and I use the aubergine impasto paint color as well. Those are probably two of my favorite colors of the impasto paints. So I'm just going to continue to add the color, and I will be back shortly. All right, to add more depth to the pumpkin, I am adding Polite People Purple Lindy Starburst Squirts. I absolutely love these. They're a little bit thicker than the spray, so they're really nice to just, do what I'm doing now, because a lot of times I will take the nozzles off of the sprays anyways and add color to my projects that way. So these are really nice to have on hand and just kind of put on the project, squirted on the project, hence the name. All right, so I am adding another squirt. This one is Maple Syrup Bronze, and I'm painting this one on. I wanted my pumpkin to be kind of a little bit yellow and purple. So it wasn't too yellow, this bronze color. And I'm adding it to the metal pieces, and I will add a bunch of it to the antlers as well. And you could see in the video that the pictures just are so muted. I just don't have the energy to try and do the photos exactly perfect, especially because this is such a large piece and it was a little bit hard to take photos of. So I do apologize, but I hope you guys get the gist of my vision. And I think if I had a clearer mind, I probably would be doing much more with this pumpkin. But I definitely look out for number 2, because the idea itself, I think I can definitely run with it and do something even more amazing. All right, so I'm just going to continue to add color to this project, and I will be back shortly. Okay, so as the pumpkin dried, it obviously muted a lot of that color. So I am going to go in again with the Polite People Purple just to add a little bit more depth to the project. And I add a little bit of the purple to the antlers as well. And then I add some purple to the candlestick, which I did not film at this point. I already have a hard time remembering that my camera shuts off after 25 minutes, even though I've had it for a few years now. But now that I'm sick and filming, it was just not going to happen. So I do apologize. And I do apologize for this voiceover being all over the place. I'm trying my best. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing me alter a pumpkin. Be sure to check out everybody else's videos. All of the links and everything will be in the description box down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to my channel, I hope you subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified every time that I upload a video. All of the supplies and everything will be over on my website as well. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching and stopping by, and I will catch you guys later. Bye.